Well, hey, Living Stones family. It's good to be with you wherever this video or podcast finds you. We just wanted to take a few minutes here to talk about missions. Kirk, you've been in Europe for the last
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And you just got back at 3 a.m. Monday morning or Tuesday morning.
Tuesday morning.
And then rolled into a meeting with us at 10 a.m. Later that morning. It's good to have you back. It's good,
Thank you.
And I'm just getting back into the swing of things too. But we just wanted to take some time to talk about this month. The month of July, we have set aside to focus on and highlight global missions. There's a variety of different things that we've got going on, from missions partners preaching for us. There are lunches for them after our worship gatherings. You've been in Europe, and so we'll do our best here to keep this concise, but also informative. We want to make sure that as a church family, we're all aware of what's been going on and how people can be involved. And we really hope that this month is a time of encouragement for people, encouraging people toward supporting global missions, whether it's financially or being engaged in it themselves. And, we had an elders prayer gathering Wednesday morning. And, it was one of the things that we prayed for was, hey, maybe there would be children in our church, teenagers in our church who are moved by the Holy Spirit to pursue missions. And that, I just think sometimes in our American context, we really get pigeonholed into what appropriate careers are for people long term, right? And the idea of being a missionary is such a radical and out there idea. It's not thought of necessarily as normative for people in the American church. And I'd love to see that change. It's not, one person's not going to change that, but a movement of God to raise up another generation of missionaries.
That's right,
to take the gospel to the world. So that's a long introduction of things that we want to talk about. But let's start here. The month of July at Living Stones is our missions month. Would you like to talk a little bit more about why we're doing that, what to expect this month, and kind of what your hope as a former missionary is for this month for us?
Yeah, and I think it's important to make the distinction that, I believe we're all missionaries in the sense that we're ambassadors for Christ. We share the gospel of Christ. We're called where we're called, and we do that in our local context. But cross-cultural missionaries, global missionaries, I think, have a particular vocational or spiritual calling to take the gospel to another people group, and I think that's important. And I think that, you mentioned praying for a movement of people, of young people especially, and I think missions has different ebbs and flows in church history, right? Like the late 1800s was the mission movement, and there's just been so many great examples of God sending people all over the world. I think because that was tied together maybe in the history of the world with colonialism and some other things, that then people kind of have kind of gone off missions a little bit. Or even in the 90s and 2000s, there's a lot of missional activity, cross-cultural short-term trips. And then I think that people saw that maybe people were going to Mexico and painting the same wall 20 times, and they're like, oh, why should we be spending money this way? And so there's been a movement to kind of say, let's support indigenous people. Let's send our money to them, which is great. National workers are great to support. But then I feel in one sense, we've lost a little bit of that. How would I put this? We've lost a little bit of that, that personal skin in the game with global missions, and I think that's very important.
It's just kind of another. There's always an overcorrection. Right. We rarely get the pendulum in the middle where it needs to be. There's always an overcorrection. So whether it's we're going to send 50 teams a year to the same church in Mexico and repaint their building every time, then the pendulum swings to we're just not going to do anything. And
people think it's not valid, or and maybe even see I give money and that's good enough, and of course that's great.
And that's all some people can do.
Of course they can
as well.
But I kind of wanted to go back to the Old Testament. I'll share this on Wednesday night. Next Wednesday is our all-church gathering for all our GCs and anybody else to come together. We're going to talk about global missions. I'll share this, but I'll just briefly say, this has always been God's heart. It says in Psalm 67, may God be gracious to us and bless us and make his face shine upon us. But then he says, so it's praying for God's blessing, praying for God to shine upon us. But, verse 2, that your way may be known on earth, your saving power among the nations. In Hebrew, that's the goyim. In the New Testament, that's the ethne, the ethnic groups, the people with a story. And it says, let the peoples praise you, O God. Let all the peoples praise you. And then let the nations be glad and sing for joy. Let the peoples praise you. Let all the peoples praise you. And I mean, so for all of biblical history, even Exodus, we're studying that. God saved his people to be a people for his possession, to proclaim his glory to the earth, not to hold it to themselves.
Yeah.
And the New Testament, the church, like the early church, they were poor, they were persecuted, and yet they had this passion. Paul's like, I got to get to Spain. I've got to get to these places to preach the gospel. And not just Paul, the whole early church was like, oh, yeah, let's send these people here. And you see this conversation taking place in the New Testament. And so I just think this has always been what God has been about. And how we do that can look different in every generation, of course.
Right.
And man, we can do that online now so much. I mean, there's so many ways where we can engage with the global church. But so we don't always have to go on a trip or spend money to do that. But it's also a privilege. And I've met with so many church planters who just say, in foreign context, who say, we're so glad you came to visit us.
Yeah. Yeah. And it can feel so lonely and isolating in those contexts. I think one of the things that you were able to do on your trip, and that you and Mitch are going to be able to do as you guys go to Romania, is it next month? Yeah,
August 4th to 10th.
Is encourage church planters and pastors who are on the ground in context where the evangelical population is 1%.
Yes.
Maybe.
Yeah.
Right? And just maybe something I'd want to say to our church. I think it can feel isolating and very lonely being in pastoral ministry in the United States, where it feels like every fifth person you talk to is a believer involved in a church. And we have a church of 300 people, and it can still feel very lonely and isolating.
Yeah.
Imagine being in a context like Romania, where the Christian population is so small and your connection with other pastors is so limited. To have a pastor whose church is financially supporting you, come over and visit with you and sit in your home and talk with you and pray with you. The encouragement that in-person meeting is going to have is going to fuel the next year of ministry for them. There's a really cool moment at the end of 2nd and 3rd John where John says to the person he's writing to, like, I long to see you face to face.
Yeah. There's power in that.
There's power in absolutely presence, ministry presence, and even Paul. He wasn't only planting churches in the cities he went to; he was revisiting churches that he'd been to and revisiting pastors, and so
and even like obviously you can do that through Zoom this morning. In fact, I had a call with somebody from Spain. I had a call with somebody from Romania. So like these things can happen. That's great. But there's some. And so maybe I could talk about the trip that I was just on a little bit.
Yep.
Because I think that testimony came out in this trip as well. Like I was in northern Italy, first of all, in Conigliano. I'm hoping that our church will partner with this group of churches. They're Acts 29 churches and also part of this ministry that has been called Serenissima Ministry Group. Name changes is happening. I'm on the board for that, and I just had we had a board meeting. We're changing it to Regent International or Regents International.
A little bit easier to say for us.
A little easier. And the idea is like we're equipping like regents or people who are like overseeing regions, national church planters in those areas in Spain and Albania and whatnot, in Romania and in Italy. And so anyway, I was in northern Italy, Conigliano, which is a suburb of Venice, and working with a Romanian pastor named Danny Taut and his wife Zinia. And they had requested that we come over, and we had planned to take some connections from Slovenia, a guy who runs a Lego ministry, and bring him over in a van full of Legos and basically do like a week-long Lego camp with kids, mainly non-Christian kids. So we had 30 kids sign up for this. There was 2 of the families from the church had their kids come, but everybody else was non-Christians, Muslim kids, kids from Italian secular background, playing Legos. And then my wife Mindy was with me and was able to teach from Exodus with Lego Bible studies each day, a little bit of like a pointing to the story of God in the gospel. So she did a great job, and had one other team member with us, and we just served these kids. And then on Friday had this big grigliata, which is basically barbecue in Italian. So if everybody can practice that, if you go on the trip, a grigliata. We had a great time. And I can picture these people. I was talking to an Italian couple from Sardinia who had moved up to the Venice area, and they don't have any consciousness of the God of the Bible. So many things that I saw. And honestly, afterwards, because we, at some point in the pre-trip planning, we were like, we didn't have a big team. We didn't have a lot of people respond. And so we even questioned, should we even do this?
Sure.
Well, afterwards, like the pastor, Danny, and his wife were just like, we are so grateful you came. You, Mindy, Mike, the other team member, and just so thankful that you didn't cancel. And so this was also then a scouting trip, and there were teams from 4 or 5 different churches at all 5 church plants in this area around Venice on what they call their mission week. And so I'm hoping we could take a team from Living Stones next year and do a similar thing for a week and really just partner together of this movement that's happening. That's great. It's amazing. In northern Italy, less than 1% evangelical. And my friend Rob, who is the director of this and the leader, one of the pastors of Serenissima Church, has planted now successfully 5 other small churches with Italian guys or a Romanian guy, one other American missionary, and it's just great to see. So it's been amazing. Yeah,
incredible.
That was
incredible.
a good time.
Yeah. Do you want to share a little bit about what's going to be going on in Romania coming up here? You and Mitch are going to be heading over there.
Yes, I will. Let me just say quickly, though. Yep. So we were there, and then I did go to Romania. I was teaching at a pastor's conference. That was kind of like a side quest. We were over there, and I got asked to do that, and it wasn't connected other than the pastor who I'm connected with there is considering, he's a missionary pastor from America, considering maybe joining LS Global for his finances. So I want to maintain that relationship, and that's why I went there. And so taught actually the Church of Sardis that we had taught already. Cool. But had a really good response. And then we went over to the Basque country, Spain. Again, it's a connection that's not with Living Stones Church, but maybe through Livent Global. It's a missionary couple. And I don't know if people understand this, but the Basque country is probably less than 0.5%. I don't even know how many there's no evangelical church that speaks the Euskara language, which is the Basque language. But they see themselves as distinctly not Spanish. They are Basque, and they respect, and they don't want to go to Spanish-speaking churches, even if they wanted to investigate Jesus. And so there's a missionary couple there, an American guy I got connected to, and he's been there for 3 years. They're landlocked. They can't get out their visas and some legal trouble, so if they leave, they'll be shut out of the country. So we were able to visit them and honestly just spend time with them, encourage them. My daughter Annie paid to come over and spend some time. She's considering a calling into missions in the future. And so that was great. But we just spent time, took them out a little bit. But we also got to go to in their town, Vergara, their yearly festival. I mean, it's a 16,000 person village town, and they all hike up this hill. And honestly, they just party all day. Like my Basque friends here in Boise, I went to school with many of them at Bishop Kelly, and they drink a lot and party a lot. I know where they got it now.
It's in their family blood.
It's in the lineage, so to speak. But yeah, I mean, we were there and honestly had multiple gospel conversations, not even trying, honestly, just experiencing that culture. It was wonderful, but also disheartening to see that, man, so many people don't know Jesus, So anyway, that was fun. That was great. That connection is so that maybe we can host Basque students in our homes next July. If we had 2 people interested this year
as exchange students,
students for a month to kind of give them an English experience, which then helps them. Because we share the gospel with them, we spend time with them, we send them back, and then that creates conversations. That's how that missionary got there in the first place, was through these English exchanges and got welcomed into these Basque homes and Basque families. And now this guy, like, he has such favor with that town. I mean, I got to meet the mayor of the town because he knows him. I mean, he's learning Euskara. People are like, man, you speak such good Euskara in 2 years. And so it's just cool to see, like, an on-the-ground, like, someone there trying to make disciples. Doesn't have a church yet.
Yeah.
But
he's doing the groundwork.
To get there.
Yeah. Amazing.
So super exciting. So anyway, with all that said, I guess I'll share a little bit about Romania.
Yeah, let me ask one other clarifying question. Just take 30 seconds here.
Sure.
If we could just remind people what Livent Global is.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, so when I got to what was Cole Community Church, they essentially had a mission agency working within the church where their mission they trained up missionaries through their seminary, sent them globally, and they were employees of the church. That was based, though, off of church of a certain size. And so then when the church shrunk, went through some troubles because they were like guaranteeing the salaries of these people too, which was great.
It's an amazing thing that they were doing.
Great.
Absolutely.
But then when the church shrunk, they couldn't do that. So then the missionaries graciously agreed to stay a part of it, but then they raised more finances. But still, it really does function as a separate thing. So we've separated that out now.
Right. It's its own
nonprofit
entity.
It's a nonprofit. We've changed the name from Cole to the World to Livent Global. And the website is upcoming. New giving platform is upcoming so that people can, so that the missionaries can do things more efficiently. There's all these things that are taking place. And that will be something that Living Stones Church partners with and is a sending agency that we basically help to oversee and support, but separate from the church. And so there'll be missionaries that will be part of that, but aren't part of our church-to-church partnerships.
Right.
Whereas like when we go to Romania in August, we're working with a church-to-church partnership, Living Stones with Adulam in Timișoara, Romania, and that's
in Vlad. So let's talk about that. This is a really cool partnership that we have.
It's amazing.
With what was formerly New City, through our partnership with the Acts 29 Church Planting Network, we got connected with Pastor Vlad over in Timișoara. And so we were supporting him financially, and him and I would get on Zoom, a couple times a year and talk and pray together. So we were supporting them. And then when our churches merged together to form Living Stones, you were like, wait a minute, you know Vlad too? And it turns out that you were friends with Vlad and going through some of the same missionary training when he was in Liverpool. When you were there at the same time. So you guys knew each other.
Yes.
And then we kind of put all of that together. And so we were like, this is a missionary church planting partner that we need to keep as Living Stones. Like we know him, we trust him. He's doing a great job over there. And so you and Mitch are going to be traveling to Timișoara next month to do what?
Yeah, so we're originally Mindy and I were going to do a marriage seminar for them on this trip that we just went on. A lot of the couples in their church couldn't make that work schedule-wise, and so we've shifted. He asked us to come and do their church retreat. So they'd have a yearly church retreat. Churches from England, churches from the U.S. have come before, pastors, and taught for them. So he said, would you guys come and do that for us? And so, just through prayer, talking, Mitch and I felt both that we should go. And so we're going to go teach the book of Titus to their church. And it's unique because their church retreat, they're very missional. They have non-believers coming as well.
Wow. Great opportunity.
Yeah, we're going to teach through the book of Titus and create discussions and essentially come alongside and try to encourage their church, encourage Vlad, encourage those who don't yet know Christ to come to know Christ. And so that'll be August 4th to 10th.
Great.
And I guess just to draw on that distinction a little more. So this would be an example of the distinction between Living Stones and our church-to-church partnerships and Livent Global. So Livent Global had budgeted money for site visits, and that paid for my trip this summer.
Yep.
And to be honest with you, most of the trip is paid for by the interest that is gathered in the bank, to be honest with you. That's just something I want to mention because people sometimes wonder, like, how can you do all these trips or whatever? We have, because of all the missionary support, we get interest money every month. So that helps pay for these kind of site visit trips as well. The church also has that, actually, from our bank account, which is helpful. But the church is paying for Mitch and I to go because that's a direct church-to-church partnership. Yep. And we always contribute. One of the policies I've always had in different churches is if you go, like as a family, you contribute some as well. And so
you need some buy-in.
We always contribute something to the trip as well. So anyway, I just wanted to make that distinction and also answer that question if people had that question, like, man, you guys are investing a lot. Well, it's actually not that much. Like, honestly, for this trip, The tickets for Mitch and I were like $2,800, which isn't nothing, but it's not a ton of money. And then we're going to be at their retreat the whole time, and we're not going to be spending money. And so it's our church is supporting that. And honestly, like you said before, Vlad and that church having us come all that way will just be overwhelmed with gratefulness and that we made that investment.
Yeah, absolutely.
So,
absolutely.
So it's going to be exciting to teach Titus. We did that in our men's study this last year, and we're going to do it for this church. And I think, we met this morning. It's going to be great.
Awesome.
So,
awesome. Well, great. That's a really helpful update, I think, for everyone. And more to come next Wednesday. So at our all-church gathering, this is for everyone who's a part of Living Stones. We want you to come out, hear a little bit more about global missions, how our gospel communities can partner with that. We'll get some updates from other missionaries and hear a little bit more about Livent Global, your trips as well.
Yes. Please come, because we have Doug Gamble, who did it. He's doing a vision lunch this Sunday, but he'll be
preaching this Sunday as well.
Him and Laura, his wife, will be sharing. He's preaching this Sunday. Hernan will be back for that. Hernan and Joan from La Garriga in Catalonia. And then Jody Sherwood will be sharing a little bit of her story. And she actually has a book out about her story as a missionary. We'll have a thing for kids, mission-focused, like little discipleship thing happening. And there'll be some appetizers or snacks from these different regions out on the tables for people as they come in as well. So I'm excited about it. I hope people just see the value and come. And then we'll hopefully give people opportunities to engage, like you said, GCs, prayer meeting on a regular basis for missions, and some other things too.
That's great.
Yeah,
thank
you.
Well, hey, Living Stones family, thank you for taking the time to listen to this update. And Kirk, thanks for sharing everything. We'll see you guys soon.